Hey guys, Penny here from Monaco Nail Academy with another Friday Fudge Up, the weekly video series where I go through how to get past and fix up any of those common mistakes that us as nail techs tend to make. Alrighty, so this week what we're going to fix is the where you've put product on an acrylic extension, like just not quite close enough. I don't know if you can tell. I've tried to use cover powder so that you can see, but basically I have put the product right up near the cuticle, but just not close enough. If we leave it where it is now, then within a few days the nail is going to look like it has grown out, especially if it's not particularly well blended, and the client's going to feel like they already need their nails done, and that's not something you want them thinking until at least the 2-week mark. So what we want to do when we have left a gap like that is fill it, but it's kind of tricky because it's a small space and it's often a very wide space, especially on Sam's nails. So it's not really as easy as putting in a bead, because how do you get a bead from here all the way around here and all the way around here before it goes hard, especially if you're quite new at nails? Okay, so what we're going to do is work with very small beads. I have some cover powder here. I've got my dap and dish off the camera as well. I'm using I've dipped my brush, but it's more damp than it is wet. And I'm going to pick up a very small bead, eensy weensy. It's not even really a bead, it's just a bit of product. And this is going to go on one side. So I'm going to treat the back area of the nail like 2 halves. So I place down my first bead. I just clean my brush a little bit, just on the wipe, not with monomer. And then with my bristles over the edge of that bead, I'm going to just pull it out to the edge and then halfway and stroke it out onto the rest of the nail. Dampening my brush again, picking up another tiny bead, placing it on the right hand corner, and then again with my brush over the edge of the bead, pulling it round and forward. Now I've got a little bit of a dip here in the nail, so I need to check whether or not I've got good structure or whether or not I can actually add more product. I think a lot of people, a lot of nail techs sort of fix everything with more product, and that's how you end up filing for hours and hours afterwards. I could definitely do with the slightly higher apex, so I'm picking up just the smallest amount of product, placing it directly in the dip and patting it out, brushing it forward, just to smooth it out. If I had looked at the structure of the nail and actually it was perfectly fine as long as it had a little bit of a file, then I wouldn't necessarily have added product. I would have filed to fix, not added product to fix. But that's generally what I do when I have that gap at the back that's just too small. If I had been doing this and hadn't had a smooth blend at the back, then I would have actually filed down my sort of product lump and then added the small beads. So if you had a ridge of product at the back where you had done your last bead before the gap, then go back to last week's Fudge Up and watch how I blended in a ridged product line. I would blend it in first, so file it up and then add product to fill in the small gap at the back. It's just really important that you do fill it in so that aesthetically it looks how the client expected it to look, and so that it is connected to as much natural nail plate as it can be to prevent lifting and make sure that it lasts as long as possible. Okay, so that is this week's Friday Fudge Up. Comment below with a big yes please if you want me to let you know when next week's Friday Fudge Up goes live, and otherwise I will see you then.